Yo, what's going on, guys? I know this is a very different style video, but obviously we have a very different style and scary update. I mean, first off, this is a massive change. If this entire PTB went through, like if all these changes happened today, Dead by Daylight is a very different game, and I don't think it's for the better. So I want to go through and kind of give my take on certain things because it's important to constructively criticize things like this, which before we move on, I'm going to criticize a lot of things in here because I have a lot of passion about this game, and it's okay if you guys do too, but we have to criticize the things on the PTB and the patch notes. We don't criticize the people behind it. If you can't separate the game from the person making the decisions and you attack a person or the person behind these decisions, then you're just being a bad person. And like I said, I'm going to be very passionate about this. A little bit of lore about myself is about 9 months ago, 12 months ago. I don't remember how long ago it was at this point. I gave up an insanely good career opportunity to continue pursuing Dead by Daylight content. The career would have basically made it impossible to continue making content. So I had to choose between that and this, which is why I'm going to be so passionate, because I took a big risk and altered my life decisions for this game. So obviously this game means something to me. So we'll just briefly go through some of the things. Some of the other things will go more in depth, but we'll just start at the top. The new killer, the Crossu. I think objectively, great design. I think objectively speaking, kits that involve multi-layer steps are good designs if done right, but you infect them more optimally in one of your powers, you know, like the spitting thing, and you can infect them kind of easier with the head dash, but the head dash doesn't fully infect them, and then you infect them before you can injure them unless you just M1. Like, I think these multi-layered kits objectively are cool. I think this was done pretty well. Now, for me personally, I don't really enjoy playing these multi-layered things. Like, I don't like Trapper or Singularity or Hag or Legion, where you injure them without really chasing them and then you chase them. And the same thing with Plague. Like, I don't enjoy playing, you know, step 1, step 2, step 3, step 4 killers. I don't enjoy that. Like I said, that's just me personally. I think this was actually really well done. I don't know if I would change anything. I think if I would change something, it would be, why are we still making killers that vault pallets, even though this vaulting is kind of shit if you know what you're doing, because you can't body block the survivor when you vault that in the head form. At least from my experience yesterday, like I can probably throw a clip up. So it's kind of weird, because if the survivor drops the pallet, then runs, then the vaulting makes sense, but it's not oppressive in the sense where you can vault it and they can't do shit because you can body block them. So I'm not entirely opposed to it, but I don't really know why we keep making killers that vault pallets, but that's just such a small thing. Now for the perks, I think Ravenous, the one where everybody becomes exposed when you get your 4th fresh hook, it's one of those perks that's not shit. It's not amazing. On certain killers, you can really do some damage with this. Like, I'm looking at this and I'm like, Wraith with Windstorm could just annihilate some people with this. M1 killers that can kind of play a little more different M1, like a traditional, like a Ghostface or a Trapper, not gonna be able to really use this. Someone like Wraith, potentially Hag, can get some decent value with this. I think anyone can get some value off of this, but I think it's one of those perks where it's not gonna make or break every game, and only certain killers can use it, but you can do some damage. So I think it's actually really well designed. I don't think it's overpowered. I don't really think it needs buff. Wandering Eye. This is the one where if an injured survivor is within 16 meters of you, yet again, injured survivor 16 meters, when you start chasing a survivor, you see the injured survivor's aura. Dude, okay. If there's an injured survivor within 16 meters of me, unless they're Iron Will, I'm gonna hear them, I'm gonna see blood, I'm gonna have some sort of idea that they're nearby because there'll be blood trails, scratch marks of them trying to get away. Dude, this perk is way too niche. I don't think there's like scenarios where this is really gonna do anything unless you're playing without headphones. So like, I don't think this is well designed at all, but it's still somehow more well designed than this one. Unless I'm like crazy with Overture of Doom. I read this and immediately was like, are we not seeing the problem here? So this is a Hex perk, which anyway, like Hex perks, they get cleansed really easily, but it's a Hex perk that curses the farthest generator from the Hex perk. And then when a survivor starts repairing that cursed generator, you become undetectable, but not just undetectable. Your terror radius gets transferred to the generator. So any survivor with any semblance of sentient understanding, if they can just have some logical reasoning, if they start doing a generator and the terror radius of the killer just boom in their face, oh, this is that cursed generator. I'm just gonna not do this generator and walk away. And also, since it transfers your TR, it gives them a general idea of where your hex totem is. So it's a hex perk that relies on the survivor to activate it. And even when it's active, the game second-handedly tells the game, or not the game, the survivor, that you have it, and then the survivor can counter it like it's no issue. This is just dog shit unforeseen. Like, if they made it so your terror radius doesn't transfer and you just become undetectable, then we're talking. Like, okay, that's not that bad. Even though it's a hex perk, like, it's not great. I mean, I'd rather just use unforeseen, but there's something to use there. The fact that it just tells the survivor, oh, ding ding, this is the cursed gen. Problems. So with road life, this is the one where when you're doing a generator while injured, you get tokens, and then next time you heal someone, it's faster. This seems like way too many activation conditions. I don't know why the hell you wouldn't just run like botany, or we'll make it, or just bring a good med kit to heal your teammates. You need to be injured, not broken, repairing a generator, and you get 1 token for each regular great skill check. I guess, okay, maybe oppression or overcharge doesn't count. I guess I get why it says regular. And then you just get the healing bonus until you stop healing. Unless I'm like reading this wrong and understanding it wrong, why would you not just run any other healing perk? 1, 2, 3, 4. It's another one like Bardic where you do an action and then you get continuous skill checks, and it just gives the other people within 16 meters of you the chance to get more skill checks, which I guess if you're running hyper-focused stakeout in a 4-man, then okay, it can maybe do something. I guess if your friend has autodidact and you do this, like, okay. Yet again, I feel like this is way too many steps, and just why would you like use a perk slot on this? Now, Ghost Notes is interesting. I like how we kind of like nerf Vigil a bit, and then you get mini Vigil, and then you also get Lightweight. So now you can just run Sprint Burst, Vigil, Ghost Notes, Lightweight, and you get like infinite Sprint Burst-ish, you know, quote, infinite, and no scratch marks, basically. You get Lucky Break and lots of Sprint Burst. I don't know. Like, this is one of those perks where on its own, it's not problematic. It's hard because looking at this perk, I'm like, okay, on its own, no issues. But then you just start in your head being like, if you pair it with this, and then, okay, that's interesting. I mean, I think the biggest problem with this isn't going to affect the strongest killers in this game, but Ghostface, Trapper, you know, your M1 115 killers. Yeah, good luck tracking, I guess. Now for the big dog, for the elephant in the room, for honestly the reason I'm making this video. Wow. I don't even know where to start with this. This is where I'll get like really critical on one thing. Yet again, I'm not going to try to attack the devs directly, but these past few updates, you know, I mean, everyone's always said that behavior doesn't understand their own game. And I think that's kind of like partially correct. I think what we need to do is kind of like separate knowing the game and understanding the game. Like, knowing the game is what you're going to get out of survivors or not just survivors, but survivors and killers, just players with like 1,000 hours in the game. They know all the killers, they know all the perks, they know the good perks, they know the good maps, bad maps, they understand the maps, they understand how the resources work. Like, they can play a game of Dead by Daylight and not have mental strain. But I think there is a line in between knowing the game and understanding the game. And by understanding the game, I mean understanding Dead by Daylight macro and the progression of a Dead by Daylight game and the balancing in the process of a 4v1 to a 3v1 to the end of the game. And I kind of feel like this really speaks to, I don't think they understand the macro of DBD, because this is just like, this doesn't make any sense because Dead by Daylight kind of has two phases. It's the 4v1 and the 3v1. And I genuinely believe the Dead by Daylight game does not truly start until the 3v1. Like once the 3v1 happens, that's when both sides adjust their strategies, especially on Survivor side. Like you have to do different gens at different times, reset at different times, pressure hooks, pressure different gens at different times. Like your decisions start meaning so much more on both sides, but especially on Survivor side. But that being said, a killer can lose a game in the 4v1, a survivor can lose a game, or the survivors can lose the game in a 4v1. So it's not like the 4v1 doesn't matter, but the 3v1 is genuinely where the game starts. That's where decisions mean the world. And this just takes that concept and just lights it on fire. Because with this, you're borderline forced to play a 4v1 the entire time, which against good survivors is pretty unwinnable, especially on any killer under A tier, even like low A tier killers. Like you can't be in a 4v1 the whole time. That's not how this game works. So I'm not really a fan of, I mean, it's not like awful, but it's not great. Like the base kit OTR stuff, basically like this whole, like just the base kit OTR and the extended BT / babysitter. I mean, whatever you want to call it. I kind of think you can use this on Survivor a little aggressively. And in my head, honestly, like when I'm looking at this, I'm like, doesn't this kind of also just encourage camping a little more? Because you're practically forced to make sure you get a trade. Otherwise, you're not going to be able to maintain any level of pressure. And then when you go down here to like the hook status update and combine with this, you already shouldn't allow free hook pulls. Like I'm actually making kind of like a more intensive, unique tips video. It should be out in like what, a week or two, something like that. And part of my like, or one of my tips is talking about not allowing free unhooks. Like you need to get a trade or some health states in the process. Like if you just hook somebody and walk away, they can unhook that for free and you have no pressure. This makes that even more of a pivotal thing. And I'm looking at this stuff. You don't get the unhook notification. You don't know their status for 10 seconds afterwards. And they get base kit OTR and with this elusive stuff, like the no collision, I should say. Like, aren't you a lot more forced to camp than you already kind of were? Like, you're forced to make sure they don't get it for free. You don't get the information anymore. And having 10 seconds of lessened information is an issue. And that 10 seconds of information is on two survivors because it's the hook survivor, and then you don't know where the unhooker, the savior, is for another 10 seconds. And then if they aggressively run in your face, you can't do anything about it, really. So I don't understand it. Hi, Editing Peak here. I kind of wanted to come in and add more to this because I didn't really say everything I wanted to say. So on one level, it feels like you're forced to camp, but on the other level, all the changes incentivize splitting pressure across all the survivors. And then when you have base kit pop, you also shouldn't camp. And then another thing, even in current DBD, camping's not always the play. Like there's a lot of times where if you camp a hook, you'll lose. Because camping's not just this free win thing, it's camping under the right conditions is a good idea. You also can't really maintain the level of split pressure to win that these changes ask you to. So if you camp, it's going to kind of cost you a lot. You might lose for it, especially since you can't get the tunnel out right after that. If you try to get too much split pressure, you're going to lose because there's not enough pressure. So then you kind of feel like you need to camp, but then like we said, you can't always camp. So it's not like this forces you to camp. It kind of just forces you in a spot where, you know, if you camp, you lose. If you split pressure, you're probably going to lose. I mean, splitting pressure probably would be the better idea, but yet again, like, yeah, go split pressure on Trapper. Go split pressure on Ghostface. Go split pressure on Bubba. Like, it's basically, these changes ask you to do something that not every killer can do. If you go play split pressure, you basically just play see survivor, chase survivor, everybody have fun, which is not how you win. Sorry, I just wanted to come in and narrate that a little more because I didn't really say everything I wanted to. It's not like it forces you to camp and that's how you win. It's like you leave, you lose, you stay, you lose. Like, I don't know, it's bad. And then we're getting really into the issues. So the base kit pop And like the 10% haste, like this is way too situational. Like, I mean, like, well, you get a little bit of more map traversal that you might not need in that moment. Okay, I mean, the base kit pop is nice until we get down into, you know, wherever the perk stuff, it's somewhere down there. I mean, before we get there, like, since we're here, I'll say basically, I don't think nerfing all the gen regression except for one, and we're going to talk about that in a minute, but giving base kit pop for unique hooking, I mean, I just don't think that's the way. I think nuking the entire killer meta and then adding it base kit, which the only killers that can use it efficiently, realistically, are dash killers, the strongest killers. So we nerfed all the perks that help the weaker killers too. It helps, like, we have this power creep problem where if you buff things, it's gonna super help the stronger killers in this game, and it's gonna hurt the weaker killers more. And there's nothing you can do about it, but then you do things like this where it's like, isn't this only going to benefit the stronger killers that can go places fast? And then with the base kit barbecue, exact same concept. The only killers that can use this are killers that don't need it. Or don't need it as much. I mean, they kind of need it with the new perk changes. Now here is the massive issue. Like all of this that we talked about before, like this stuff, I'm not a fan. It makes things really weird. You change too much at once and things just don't feel the same. And like I said, some of it just feels weird. Like it doesn't feel like it belongs. It feels like a different game. This is the issue. Like this section, oh my God. We already talked about how you're forced to play a 4v1 for the whole game now, and that's a problem. Like you can't win against good survivors in a 4v1 all the way down to the end. So needing 6 hook states before you kill somebody on any killer below S, this is not realistic. And if you go against this unrealistic standard of 6 hook states, the remaining survivors get a 25 gen repair bonus. I get this is the PTB. I get we can change the value of this from this point on. Who in their right mind thinks it's a good idea to start at 25? 25 for the remainder of the survivors for the remainder of gens? I don't know how we can conceive this as a great idea, because you're either forced to play a 4v1 the entire time, or the survivors get to play a 3v1 with 4v1-esque gen repair speeds, even though you still are down a survivor, which that survivor can unhook, heal, take hits, you know, split gen pressure. You're still better off in a 4v1, but this just punishes the killer for playing the game. And the standard of hooking or killing somebody too early is way too high. And then this is a massive issue. I ran into this yesterday. I'll overlay a clip of it. So if you kill somebody that was previously the previous hook survivor, they were just the one that got unhooked, you can't block or damage gens. Yesterday I had a situation where I got my first kill on my 7th hook. I still won this game because I'm gonna be honest, the survivors just were very weak. Like not trying to shit on them super hard, but like 7 hooks, no kills. There's like 3 gens left. It still was a 4K3. They just weren't the most experienced survivors, but first kill on my 7th hook, but it was a survivor that I just hooked last. So even when I didn't tunnel, 7 hooks, 1 kill, first kill on 7th hook, I then couldn't kick or regress gens. So even if I don't tunnel and go out of my way to not tunnel, I get this is the death penalty right here. You can't kick gens, you can't block them, you can't regress them, nothing. This is the death penalty. And I didn't even tunnel, but I tunneled. What? Like, what are we thinking with that? So under this, theoretically, you could get your first kill on your 9th hook and still not be able to regress gens. You could double hook everybody, hook and kill the survivor that you just hooked last for your 8th hook, get your first kill on your 9th hook, and still get the death penalty. Okay, that's what? I think the biggest problem with this is like one thing, and this is another thing. These two systems don't function together. And I think that's the problem. I think this one that I've highlighted should be like part 2 of this. Like it should be like, this is the thing and this is section 1B, where it's like, if you kill a survivor that was previously hooked, like yet again, I don't think either of these changes should go through. I think this just ruins DBD macro. I have to do algebra to figure out the optimal hook order, which this whole thing, by the way, this whole process is supposed to make it easier for new players to play the game. But now, while new players are focusing on trying to learn how to chase people and trying to figure out, you know, how to chase, when to chase, where to chase, who to chase, when to kick gens, what gens to kick, how to control a map, how to get rid of resources, they now have to do calculus, algebra, whatever, to figure out what survivors to hook without losing the game because you hook survivors in the wrong order. Like that's immediately like the solution this is meant to solve, helping new players enjoy the game more, makes it so new killer players can't play the game, or they're just gonna lose and they didn't do anything wrong, but they did something wrong according to the system. But like I was gonna say, but I got sidetracked, I don't think either of these should go through, but wouldn't it make so much more sense where you have this, but if you kill a survivor that was the previously hooked survivor and it was under the 6 total hook state threshold, then you get this. Why is this a separate entity from this? Like if this is the system, but you kill somebody so early by back-to-back hooking them before the 6 hook state threshold, then both of these kick in. Like, I don't understand, why did we make this a separate entity? Because you can theoretically get the death penalty as because this is basically just the death penalty for killer. You can get this at such a late stage in the game. If it was a secondary subsection of this, it would make more sense. But yet again, I don't think either of these things should go through. This just overcomplicates and honestly ruins Dead by Daylight macro. Okay, moving on. The slugging reduction update, I don't think this is horrible. I think base kit UB, like for the 90-second slug, completely chill. I'm no problems with that. Base kit tenacity-ish. It's kind of like not full-on base kit tenacity, but it's kind of tenacity. Here's how I described it on Twitter yesterday when I was talking to some people. I think it's really annoying because if somebody threatens you with a flashlight save, by the time you kick that survivor away, the survivor you slugged is gone. And like, if you don't get lucky and find them, then okay, the pressure's gone. That sucks. I think it's annoying, but playable. I don't think this is so bad to where it's like, if this goes in the game, this is a big problem. I think it's really annoying, but it's not like such an overly massive issue. I guess I'll just say I'm fine with it. Now this, like, oh my God, dude. Why did I mean, I guess it's not like horrible, but why did I see an Ormond tile on Asylum yesterday? Some of the fillers are in such weird spots. I don't get, like, okay, there's a few maps that need more pallets. Haddonfield needs more pallets. Borgo needs more pallets. Pale Rose needs more pallets. Grim Pantry is fine where it is because of that goddamn main building. And then the pier is actually pretty strong. Ormond, for sure as fucking hell, does not need more fillers. Macmillan, Autohaven, I mean, like, we're taking away God Rocks, but adding more fillers. Edge map fillers that are the most zonable things of all time. Like, we basically took, I mean, Coldwind needed, that's another one. Coldwind needed more pallets, definitely. So we can't tunnel, okay. We can't slug, okay. And that means you need to have faster chases because you have to spread pressure to an overly extensive degree. So we're gonna add more pallets too. I don't really like the change because I'm so used to knowing where pallets are and where common spawns are, and like this pallet spawns here or there, or this pallet's always here. And now it's just different. I don't really like it, but some of these needed more pallets. Some of these for sure did not need more pallets. Like Macmillan, Autohaven, the RNG on there is fine. Like, there are maps that are pretty RNG dependent, but you're gonna usually get some pretty good RNG, especially on Macmillan now. Like, I mean, you can get some nasty God Rock setups, but I yet again don't understand this because we just make it so it's harder to spread pressure. But spreading pressure to such an extensive degree that this stuff forces you to spread it is it's a problem. Like, this is already too much to spread against like competent teams on a non-S tier killer. And now we just make it like infinitely more difficult. I don't understand it. Okay, for the Myers thing, I'm gonna be honest, I'm indifferent. So there's an issue. First off, I don't really care about lore, okay? The only movie I've seen from this game is Saw. I've watched all the Saw movies. I'm not a big movie TV guy, okay? So I don't really care about the lore accuracy. I know a lot of people do, but this is just my personal take. So the change isn't, you know, like, oh, I hate how it's not true to himself anymore. I respect the people that feel like that. I kind of just don't care. Like, I'm not for or against it. And then with the slaughtering strike, this is an unwinnable situation. Neither side's good on this. So we talked about power creep. If you don't know what power creep is, like, we're at a point in Dead by Daylight where the survivor meta, which yet again, by the way, this is a good point to mention, 40% of my playtime's on Survivor. I know my channel is only killer content. You can go back. I used to be a Survivor main when I first started playing this game. I switched to killer for content reasons. I still play a lot of Survivor. Like I said, like 40% of my playtime's on Survivor. So like, I'm looking at this whole update as somebody who cares about the balance. Because if you don't play both sides of the game, your opinion kind of doesn't really mean much because you're going to be too biased. But Survivor is at a point where killer, like the average killer has to be stronger to keep up. Especially with these changes, but we have this slaughtering strike where it helps Myers keep up a bit, but it feels so similar to Pig or even Chucky in a way. More so Pig. It feels like a Pig ambush. So the only way to keep him up with the killer roster, to keep up with survivors and the current meta of like items are insane. Like, dude, like medkit syringes, I mean, BNPs are nuts. Like Commodious with BNPs. I mean, medkits are insane right now. The insane amount of anti-tunnel that is also on top of this update. This helps Myers, like this whole thing helps Myers keep up, but it just takes away his uniqueness, which it's kind of a problem. On one hand, you make him not as unique, which sucks. But on the other hand, he can keep up easier, which is good. But then he's just not unique, which sucks. You either buff him, but he loses his personality, or you keep him weak, but he's unique. That's how I should say it. Either side sucks. I don't know how to feel about all this. It's unwinnable. Like, I don't know. I don't lean one way or the other. I don't want I don't like when a killer is so shit that, like, if you're Michael Myers against a semi-competent team on like Garden of Joy, like, I guess that's too, on Macmillan maps, like, it doesn't even need to be as survivor side as Garden. What are you gonna do? Like, dude, what? You're an M1 killer. Like, a lot of people have this concept, because a lot of people have told me, like, oh, Ghostface is strong. He can insta-down. There's good insta-downs, and then there's shit insta-downs. He's pre-rework Myers has to M1. That's a bad insta-down. He can insta-down. Against a competent team, he's an M1 killer. Like, you can just, on a non-killer sided map, you're just gonna fucking destroy him. I just think this is unwinnable. I am very indifferent on this. I don't think you can do right or wrong here. Editing peak here again. So I don't want to delve too much time into the like mini killer updates because I'd rather keep this focused on the really important things, but we'll very quickly run down my opinion on that because I don't want to spend too much time on it. The unknown, good, a step in the right direction. I still think it shouldn't just be for injuring a healthy survivor. I think his overall weekend timer needs increased. With Dracula, I'm not experienced enough to actually have a good opinion on this. I don't want to step in a boundary where I'm not experienced enough to give an actual accurate opinion, so I have nothing for this because I just don't know. With Clown, yet again, step in the right direction. I wish he was just reverted to what he was, but this is better than current Clown. The Ghoul, Kidnap Tech gone, W. I don't think anyone thinks this should be in the game. If you think this should be in the game, you probably only play the Ghoul. And then with Oni, it's very minimally impactful. They did it just so it was like, oh, to help assist with the new slugging thing, because the new slugging thing is going to hurt Oni. This doesn't really do too much, but I guess it's okay. I mean, Oni's still at a net negative with the slugging changes, but it's not bad. Okay, now for the perk stuff, I'm only going to go through the perks that I think are either great changes or bad changes, because a lot of these, like Leader, Lucky Star, Pharmacy, Quick Gambit, Poise, whatever, like, it's fine. It's so minimally impactful that, like, okay, whatever. Vigil can't stack on itself anymore. Thank you. Dude, did anyone think that's a good idea? I get, like, in solo queue, this isn't really gonna matter, but yet again, it's one of those things where it's like, if you get 4 SB Vigils, 4 head-on Vigils, very fucking abusable, great change. I don't really think Plot Twist needed this, but it's not impactful enough for me to really care. I don't really think I needed a recovery bonus. No Mither, great change. I don't know why this wasn't like this beforehand, where you get Iron Will and No Mither, because No Mither just kind of sucks anyway, so it's a change that should have already been in place, but W change, I guess. Now here's the one that I really hate, Hope. Okay, Hope is really good when it works, and the when is a really weird concept. End game perks should be stronger because they only work in the end game. Hope is an end game perk that only works in end games in some of the end games. So Hope is really good if you get chased in the end game. You don't make it to every end game, and you don't get chased in every end game you make it to. It was already so, like, it's good, but it's too situational. I don't think Hope needed a nerf, I'm gonna be honest. It's a good perk that only gets you value 1 in 10 games. It didn't need this. No, I don't. It's 2%, but that 2%, just give it back. No, I don't get that. I think that's all for the Survivor perks that I genuinely cared about. I mean, like, some of this stuff, like this and this kind of goes with the tunneling thing, which I don't want the tunneling thing to go through, but if it goes through, Off the Record, Babysitter, BT are all kind of base kit now, so they get lessened or slightly changed. Sure, it's not like the tunneling changes shouldn't go through, but like if they go through, those aren't problematic. I don't know what else you do with this perk because it's base kit now. I mean, maybe it just extends the base kit OTR time, so then it's just like old OTR, but it's just like, oh, it extends your endurance or just endurance by 30 seconds. Like, I'm not a fan of that, actually. Good, needed a buff, still not even great. Probably just run Coup instead. Not impactful enough for me to care, really. Barbecue and Chili, I just want the old Barbecue and Chili. It's fine where it is. It's a good perk, but it's not like overpowered. If the tunneling changes go through, sure, why not? DMS needed the nerf. Well, kinda. DMS needed the nerf if the rest of these nerfs didn't happen. This is kind of, okay, let me do this. Tunneling and slugging changes happen. You're gonna need more slowdown to compete. You get base kit pop, but base kit pop does not warrant nerfing all of these perks. DMS needed nerf, but DMS did not need nerfed if the rest of these also got nerfed, and if the tunneling and slugging changes. Let's just say the tunneling and slugging changes don't go through. Okay, let's say it like that. DMS then needs the nerf. 50 seconds is kind of fucking crazy, I'm gonna be honest. Eruption down to 5. Eruption's really good, but not every killer can adequately use it. This makes Eruption just unusable. I think this is too big of a nerf. If you're gonna nerf it 7, 8%, like put it at 7 or 8%, not 5. Because then it's just another dry kick, basically. That's stupid. Pop. It's partially base kit now, but yet again, I don't want it to be partially base kit. Pop was fine where it was. Oppression is not that great. Oppression's okay in like a 3-gen singularity build because it doesn't count as a regression event. But if survivors just hit their skill checks, it did nothing for you. I think this is better because it gives you more time to maybe get value off of it. Pain Res is fucking dead. Pain Res is just shot out in the back over there. I mean, fucking hell, poor guy back there. Damn. 12? But then yet again, Eruption's dead as shit. Now we can't tunnel, we can't slug, and the entire killer meta is just dead. This basically, here's the problem with this. Here, before we get there, let's do one thing. This is where we start fucking trolling. Ruin buff, great. Ruin, this should be 200%, but Ruin did need buff, because Hex perks only work if you devote an entire build to Hex perks. Thrill, Undying, Dominance sucks, but you know, sure, why not? Dominance too. Ruin, it was not that great of a perk. Like it was good on a certain few, like Billy, questionably Freddy, Nurse Blight, like the killers that can travel far. It was okay on everyone else that sucked on. This needed to be buffed a little further, but this is fine. But are we fucking trolling? We nerfed every impactful regression perk. And the only regression perk that got buffed rather than oppression, which is one of the weaker ones, which it kind of, I guess it needed buffs, sure. The only impactful regression perk that got buffed cannot fucking be used because of base kit pop. So you sacrifice base kit pop to get such a small buff that you probably should just use the base kit pop. Are we trolling? This has got to be April Fool's. We're trolling. This is legit. Like, it's not buffed enough to warrant using it. It's arguably worse than it is now. It's not bad now. It's still regression, but it's one of the weaker regressions because it's a hex. And the buff is so minimal. And you sacrifice the base kit pop. Like, why would you use this? Like, no, not even then. Like, Ruin Eruption was already an interesting combo beforehand because on like Billy, they're forced to have Ruin against a Billy, which is rough. But if they cleanse it, then you get to use like old Eruption. You know, old as in like current non-PTB Eruption. So it's kind of like a, which one do we want to deal with scenario? Do we cleanse? Do we not cleanse? So like, it was really only used in like a situation like that where it was like, you don't want to deal with Eruption, but you don't want to deal with Ruin. You got to pick your poison. Now it's like, I want to use Eruption because Ruin sucks, but Eruption sucks. Okay, I'll just use Pain Res DMS. Yeah, by the way, Pain Res sucks really bad. DMS is still decent. I'm not entirely opposed to this. It needed nerfed. So now, like, here's the problem that I was going to talk about a second ago. The killer meta, now, that I'm looking at it, is endgame builds, but the problem with the endgame builds is you can't fully use them because base kit UB. So now every killer is forced to run an endgame build that they can't entirely use because of the base kit Unbreakable. Giga Chase builds, Enduring, Spirit Fury, Bam, Brutal, because if all the regression is so shit, your chases need to be fast, especially since you need to split pressure. Hey, Survivor players, is going against 4 chase perks fun? No, like, dude, Enduring, Spirit Fury, Bamboozle, Iridescent Button, Eerie Button, whatever, Legion is so fucking boring. It's so brain dead. Like, going against Enduring, Spirit Fury, Eerie Button, Legion is just so snooze. And this is gonna make full-on chase builds be the norm, which is gonna feel the same. Like, oh yes, every Blight is just gonna run Brutal now. They're gonna run Brutal, and maybe like a lot of people are gonna start running Brutal Fire Up. And bam, Brutal Fire Up, bam, Enduring, Spirit Fury, like Superior, like everyone's gonna run Bam, Superior, Brutal Fire Up or something like this. Like a Speedy Vault, Anti-Pallet something. Like zoning, you're just gonna get zoned so easily now. I would rather play against Slowdown, because then you have the opportunity to have good chases. Sure, the slowdown is hard to deal with, but if you have good chases, you don't deal with as much slowdown. Now it's just like, oh yeah, I can't wait to get 2-tapped because everyone's running full chase builds. Like, it's a meta shakeup that is somehow making the meta more boring to play against. I'm not gonna go through the bug fixes or whatever. I mean, like, it's kind of hard to have opinions on these things because if it's a bug fix, then like, yeah, it needed fixed, obviously. So I think I've already said my 2 cents on a lot of things. The things that I think should go through are very minimal. I think this entire PTB takes Dead by Daylight and shoots it in the foot, and it basically makes the game unrecognizable from its current state. It's now less beginner friendly because it's more complicated to play on killer side. Survivor role has been watered down to such a brain dead level. Like, I love playing Serve. I play a lot of Serve. I'm not gonna touch pubs. Like, I mean, am I even gonna touch, if this all goes through, I might just stick on the ladder and get in more into the DBD rank server and all that. I've really been enjoying ladder, and I don't really feel like playing pubs if all this goes through. But especially on Survivor, like, I don't want to play such a boring role. This is going to make Survivor boring to play. There's going to be no competition. Like, how are the killers the punching bags? The killer is now the prey. I genuinely think this is a terrifying update. I think it changes Dead by Daylight to such a degree where the only people that are going to enjoy it to some level are the super casual players. And the problem is the super casual players are the larger part of the community. All of the experienced players that care about competition and care about improving and getting better are just not going to play. If this goes through, do I just start making more like ladder and scrim content? Because I'm not fucking playing pubs if this goes through. It's just going to be so boring on either side because this doesn't incentivize, like the whole update just doesn't incentivize getting better. It incentivizes just like hand-holding. I really enjoy improving at things. I am obsessed with becoming the best I can be at all things. It doesn't matter, not even just video games, everything in life. This just takes that and shoots it in the foot. I don't like 2v8 because 2v8 just feels like an uncompetitive sandbox. This basically makes Killer feel like an uncompetitive sandbox. It makes Survivor feel boring, hand-holdy, and uncompetitive. And like, you don't have to be a full-on comp player to want to enjoy improving and competition. And now the game has none of that. Like I said, I've already went over everything individually. You saw what I said I liked, what I didn't like. I think I described why I did or didn't like everything. If you have any more questions or just want a discussion in the comments, I'm completely fine with it. But the competitive sense of DBD is dead. DBD macro is dead. And the game in this state is boring, which sucks. Yet again, be respectful in the comments. I'm completely open with having discussions, but I hope you guys enjoyed this. I definitely enjoyed a different style of just discussing things, but thank you all so much for watching, and I'll catch you in the next one.